Doom. Is it worth a buy? Well, let's read. Doom returns as a brutally fun and challenging modern-day shooter experience. Relentless demons, impossibly destructive guns, and fast fluid movement provide the foundations for intense first-person combat. Whether you're obliterating demon hordes through the depths of hell in a single-player campaign or competing against your friends in numerous multiplayer modes, expand your gameplay experience using Doom's Snap Map editor to create easy play and share content with the world.
So what is Doom then? Well, you're going to have some history lessons, I'm afraid, guys, so buckle up. This is going to be a long one. But I hope you watch it all and don't just skip to the bits where I talk about Doom 4, because you might learn something here and you might be able to see why I have marked this the way that I mark it. Doom 1 and 2 came out 22 years ago, was it? They were the kind of children of Wolfenstein 3D. I was lucky enough to be there when this happened. I had a 386 DX40 with a turbo button, and and I got a shareware version of Wolf, and I was just like, wow, what is this? I mean, you've got to understand, guys, we'd only been used to Donkey fucking Kong, Manic Miner, these old 2D platform games. We'd seen nothing like this, you know. We were used to text adventures, for crying out loud. And when when Wolfenstein 3D came along, the first-person shooter ever, it was just like, what is this devilry? I was shouting, Dad, come here, Dad, look, Dad, look at this, look, I am in the game, that is my eyes, that is the view from my eyes, I am him, I turn, bam, that is my gun, I am holding that fucking gun, Dad, look, you cunt, look at it. You know, people talk about groundbreaking now, they use that word far too often. Nothing's groundbreaking now, except VR, but this was groundbreaking. It broke new ground. That's what groundbreaking meant. And so that spawned Doom. And Doom was it was like Wolf on steroids. It had better graphics, it had better monsters, better weapons, slightly better AI, I guess. And it had lifts, elevators, it had doors that you needed key cards to open. It had all sorts of new shit. And they even made a level editor called Dewey, I think it was, and I got stuck into that, heavily coding into that, and I made so good levels that they actually got featured on PC Zone's cover. Yes, that was my claim to fame back then. And my levels consisted of huge rooms filled with imps, Hell Knights, Pinkies, all kinds of the monsters from Doom 1, and you pressed different buttons and that let them out, and they would fight amongst themselves, and you'd have the Hell Knights versus the imps. It was fucking great. I actually upgraded my PC to a 486 just so I could fit more fucking imps on the level. Doom 2 came out and it was exactly the same as Doom 1 but with bigger maps because technology had advanced a bit. I mean, these were mindless moronic shooters. They were soulless, lifeless games. They were just rooms full of fucking monsters, and you had guns and you shot shit and picked up health that was like scattered around the place. That's all it was, but that's all we could do back then. That's why it was like that. It wasn't like, oh, we could do it like Half-Life, but we'll do it like Doom. No, they had no option but to do it like what Doom was. You know, it was just, that's all we could do back then. And every game that came out was like that. I mean, we had Heretic, we had Hexen, Rise of the Triad. I mean, even Quake years later was the same. You know, the single player campaign of Quake was just like Doom. You know, except you can now look up. You can, because at Doom you couldn't look up or down. You could just look straight ahead, which was quite funny. In fact, I even played it with keyboard back then. Goodness me. Then we had the next big groundbreaking moment, which was Half-Life in 1997 or 6 when it was. That showed us that we didn't need to have these mindless shooters. You could still have fun, but you could have a story. You could have depth. You could have immersion. You could have all these things. And Gordon Freeman changed everything because you were this guy. You know, I don't need to go into it. You know what Half-Life is. Half-Life 2 came out and it was the same. It was just a better version of Half-Life 1. And these were hard games. People say, oh, this is hard, Mac. No. Hard, see, the way I discern hard is not getting two-shotted and dying. That's frustrating. Hard is Half-Life 1, hard is Half-Life 2, hard is Medal of Honor Allied Assault, hard is Call of Duty 1. These games made you think. Return to Castle Wolfenstein, the first one, hard. That was a hard game because you couldn't be a prick. It made you think. It wasn't just about whether you'd take 2 shots and die. You took a lot more damage and didn't die. But what defines hard for me is it makes you think about a lot more stuff than just aiming down the sights of your gun. You know, saying a game's hard because you can get 2-shotted is just the bottom of the barrel kind of hard. You know, it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, that can be defined as hard, but that's not what I truly define as a hard game. A hard game is a game where you have to think about a lot of different things. Like Half-Life made you think about a lot of different things. It wasn't just shoot the aliens, lol. There was a lot more going on to it. You had puzzles to solve. You had to be careful with every encounter. When you walked around a corner, you had to be careful. You couldn't just run around the corner like a dick or you would die. You had to be really careful about how you fought the enemies. You had to use cover. It was a lot more deeper than this. Now, when Doom 3 came out in 2004, that took a step away from the early carnations of Doom. It said, hey, look, we can be like Half-Life 2. And they give you this guy who was a space marine on Mars, and you saw all these archaeological digs taking place, and then they uncovered this portal to hell, and all these demons started coming through, and it was genuinely terrifying. I made the first ever reaction video. I've never seen a reaction video made before this. In 2004, long before YouTube even existed, I had a picture-in-a-picture reaction video online on Filefront. It ended up on John Carmack's desk because he posted on the Doom forums. It ended up on television. It went massively viral. Millions of hits. I think it did 1.5 million hits in 48 hours. It was ridiculous. It went through the roof. Everybody was watching it. People on here watching this video will know Mesh does Doom, because Mesh was me mate. I filmed him. I was like in the corner of the video, and it was a phenomenon. It actually started a whole load of videos from people. So, you know, I was kind of the pioneer of that, you know. So there you go, my claim to fame. The thing is, Doom 3 brought that level of intensity, their memorable moments, that thing battering down the door. Remember that? And the door was buckling, the imp in the jar scare. It was great. It was immersive. It gave you purpose. Now, Doom that's just come out, compared to Doom 3, is a lifeless, soulless, passionless game. All it is room after room full of different demons that you have to kill. It's just a gigantic, moronic shoot fest. It's rewinding time 22 years and going back to the original. And the reason that is because, did you know they were actually making Doom? I think in 2007 they started making this Doom that's just been released, and they got a long way into it, but it ended up like Call of fucking Doom, and so they scrapped it in 2013 and started rebuilding it from the ground up. And it was then that they decided to say, F this, we don't want to make another Call of Duty, we're going back to the original, we're going back to its roots, we're going back 22 years. Now, for me, and this is just my opinion, you know, I'm not saying this is the way it is, for me, that was a mistake. Obviously, I didn't want another Call of Duty game, because most games now that are released are like Call of Duty, the bullshit. But why does no one go down the Half-Life route? It staggers me that all these developers out there, everybody's been crying for Half-Life 3, but no one delivers a game like Half-Life 1 or 2 anymore. They have to have perks, because they think perks is good. Perks aren't good, perks are shit. Certainly, weapon mods is fun. Yes, let's modify weapons, but I don't want to suddenly be able to carry more ammo, or have more health, or have more armor. And that's what Doom does. It brings in all the worst shit from Call of Duty, the perk system, and all that wank. Why can't we just be the way we are from the beginning right through to the end, but just find better, more powerful weaponry? Why do we have to have perk systems? It just doesn't do anything for me at all. It just doesn't. But it's just a minor thing, that. I mean, it's not like, they're not game breaking unless they go down the X-ray vision mode, which thankfully Doom doesn't. I would have liked to have seen a Half-Life version, like taking the best of Doom 3 and making it into Doom 4. You don't have to have cinematics all over the place. I mean, that's why they scrapped it, you know, because they said it was just like a cinematic experience. Well, don't make it like a cinematic experience then. Half-Life 1 and 2, I don't even think there's a single fucking cutscene in the whole of them games. I mean, I think there is a couple, but you know, the live cutscenes, you know, someone's talking to you, but you are still in the game, running around. So I can understand why they stepped back from that, but I can't understand why they allowed it to get that bad in the first place. But they've completely gone to the opposite ends now. They've gone right back to Doom 1. Now, I've read the description of this, and it says that it's just Doom 1. It's pretty much Doom 1, even though it's kind of the story carries on where Doom 3 left off. So if you were hoping that it was going to be like more of Doom 3, don't buy it. Stay away. Now, if you just like soulless, moronic shooting, then I've got your game of the year right here, right now. So let's look at it at what it is. It's a moronic shooter. It is extremely fast-paced, which is brilliant. It is terrific fun if that's all you want to do, because you get these double jump rocket boots that allow you to jump all over the place like a complete prick, and without these boots the game would not be anywhere near as good. Sadly, it has these glory kills that ruin it. I wish they just took the glory kills out. The glory kills are for console users. No one's going to ever convince me that the glory kill is for anything other than the consolers, because I've been looking at console gamers playing this, and not only do they have this weapon wheel that slows down time while they change weapons. Oh yeah, they press a button, the weapon wheel comes up, and all the monsters say, right, time out lads, time out, get the kettle on, he's switching weapons. You ready? Okay, right, get him! You know, it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But worse than that, guys, is when you die, when you're close to death, as you play through this, you will inevitably get close to death if you're playing it on a decent difficulty level. And I completed it on the max difficulty. That's not Nightmare, that's the max you can get on your first playthrough. I don't know what it's called, but it's, you know, it's the top difficulty level. And if you start to get below 30% health, the demons all rally round to save your life. They will go, fucking hell, he's dying, quick lads, give him first aid, here Max, shoot us quick. And as you shoot, whatever it is you shoot, doesn't matter what it is, the next monster you shoot, he will throw more first aid at you than a fucking casualty department of a hospital. He will, to keep you alive. And go, there you go, Mac, bandages, quick. If you run out of ammo, it's even worse. Ammo is even worse than that, because you have the chainsaw. And what you do is, if you are low on ammo on all your guns, you just walk up to any monster, pull out your chainsaw, chainsaw him, and he will shower you with ammo. Fill all your guns up pretty much with ammunition. Talk about dumbed down moronic shooters. That's what this is. It's just, yeah. But, and there's a big but, it's fun. You have to disengage your brain. You have to say, right, oh, I'm not going to get Doom 3. I'm not going to get this immersive, scary story of suspenseful corridors and demons leaping out on me. I'm not going to get that. I have a room full of demons, so let's just engage Quake mode and kick the fuck out of them. And like I say, I played this too on the hardest difficulty possible when you're doing your first playthrough, and I didn't enjoy it. I found, you know, you get two-shotted. I died about 15 times. I think 8 or 9 of them were me killing myself, because as a FPS veteran, I go into Quake mode. I want to do rocket jumps. I want to be leaping around and firing at them in midair. I don't know why. I'm just flamboyant. You talk to any Quake player who played like at a really high level, and they will all say that in Quake it wasn't enough to railgun somebody. You had to rocket jump, switch to rail in midair, and shoot them while you were in midair. Any top Quake player will tell you that. And because this plays so fast, you go into that mode and you can't help it. And I died so many times rocketing somebody in the head as I was jumping over the top of them, because the splash damage kills you on the high difficulty. And I hated the game for that, because I had to play it properly. I had to be careful when I was going around shooting stuff to progress, because there's no save, and so you actually have to go back to the checkpoint. But when I pretty much finished the game, and technically I haven't finished it. I'm up to the final boss, but I had a splitting headache, so I stopped playing. But I'll kill him later today. I think it was because I was concentrating too much. So what I did was I had an hour out, and then I thought I'll go back to the easier levels and turn down the difficulty and have a look for some of these secrets, because there's loads of secrets, and I do love secret hunting. I love jumping on platforms and exploring the levels, and they look fucking gorgeous in this, guys. Absolutely fucking gorgeous, the graphics. And I've got them turned down, and here's my settings now. I'll let you have a good look. There's the settings that I'm using for this, so you can see there's a lot of room to turn up. And while I'm into the settings, the key binding's wank. It really is. There's not all of the keys are listed, so if you start rebinding stuff here, you could gimp yourself in the game like what I did. So be careful with your keybinds. But anyway, I went back to the early levels. I turned it down to medium difficulty. I'll never go on easy difficulty for anything, ever, ever. Never will, never have. So I went back to medium difficulty because obviously I didn't want to be two-shotted while I'm looking for secrets. And so I was going around the levels, looking around, and obviously got caught up in a lot of combat because there's so many enemies. And I actually enjoyed it more on medium difficulty because I was so relaxed. I knew I wasn't going to die unless, well, actually I did die by being ridiculous. I jumped over somebody's head with quad damage and rocketed them and blew myself pretty much out of the game. What I'm saying is I was so much more relaxed and doing crazy moves and just running around like a complete arsehole, and I started enjoying the game. And I started to think, wow, this is actually fun because it's so fast paced. Unless you are just absolutely ridiculously amazing. And obviously I'm well past my best as a FPS player now. I mean, I'm in my bloody 40s, you know. My eyes and reflexes are nowhere near as good as they used to be. And I recommend this. I recommend you play on medium and just be a complete prick. Just run around like a complete and utter prick and you'll have fun. And I'm actually going to replay the whole game on medium and be a complete fucking prick. And I'm starting to enjoy it because I've accepted that it's not Doom 4. I wish it had been. I wish it had been, because it would have been a so much better game. But I've accepted that it's not, and so I'm running back now on medium and I'm having a laugh. So the single player campaign, it's about 8 or 9 hours long, not much really for your money, and it's just a massive shooting fest. Multiplayer, they've added a progressive level where you pick up weapon drops, which is nice because that's what lacked the last time, but it's still not very good, the multiplayer. I still don't like it, never did with Doom. But they have got something, guys, that is worth looking at, this snap map, which is basically a dumbed down level editor. You can just snap different rooms together to make your own levels, which is great. But that's not what makes it good. What makes it good is you can have a survival mode on that's co-op. So you can actually make a big kick-ass level and get your mates on and play survival. That sounds brilliant. And I'm going to do that in streams to anybody who has Doom. I'm going to make some levels when I get time and we'll host this and we'll try it out. And if that's good, then brilliant. So that leaves me with the score then. Well, because this game doesn't market itself as Doom 4, it markets itself as Doom 1. I have to thumb it up because it is pretty much dead on for Doom 1 and 2. Yes, it's got the dumbed down mechanics which you're going to need for consoles because, let's be honest, you cannot do with a controller what I can do with a mouse and keyboard. So, us PC gamers that use mouse and keyboards, we have a terrific advantage over the console users who use or anybody who uses a controller, because you just can't turn as fast. You can't react with the accuracy that we can. So it's had to be dumbed down, I guess, for them. But I just wish they took the glory kills out. I really do. And toned down the health. But if you just want a mindless, moronic blast, shooting the shit out of stuff with quad damage, berserk, and just seeing blood and gibs everywhere, then yeah, it's absolutely worth a buy because it is great fun in that mode. So there you go, guys. Doom 4 it is not. Doom 1 it pretty much is. And because it says that's what it is, it has to be worth a buy.